Welcome to PQ, Conversations That Build Equity. I'm your host, Jason Winningham, and in these conversations, we're talking about how you can build your professional quotient through the development of your professional equity, which is your skills, your knowledge, your education, your experience, and your network, or what I like to say, your community. And today, our special guest is Rosanna Hudson. Rosanna, would you like to introduce yourself?
Allow myself to introduce myself. As you met, Rosanna Hudson. Everybody calls me Roro. A lot easier off the tongue. Doesn't matter where you are. Sober or not, you'll remember it. Trust me.
Absolutely. Rosanna, I really wanted to invite you on this podcast because when I think about professional equity, you were the very first person in my professional journey that really taught me that the extras that we do really matter. And I don't know if you even remember, but it was when you invited me to partner alongside you as a volunteer coordinator for a philanthropic event. And I kind of wondered, why would anyone want to do something extra for work? Because in my mind at that time, it was very much you show up from your 8 to 5 and you go home, you compartmentalize, you have this life, your personal life, and then your work life. And I didn't expect to make a single friend at work. And here it is 20 years later. I talk to you more than anybody in my family.
Every morning, practically.
Absolutely. So tell me, what do you think is the most valuable thing in your portfolio of professional equity?
First off, thank you, Jason, for saying those words and bringing that memory back. Wow, you're right. 20 years, my friend, 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally. What is the area that really is the needle and thread that really fluid through of your PQ, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of PQ. To me, is always been reputation and trust, because it's a fundamental thread that will navigate and lead you and almost, be an advisor to your skill journey, your expertise, your relationships that you build, those network.
Mm-hmm.
I guess a good example is you telling me, you invited me to go do, I think, what was it, Chef Showcase? Is that what it was at where we were? Is because it felt like something that was going to be cool. One thing, it was an out of the box thing for me too. And I thought, hey, the more the merrier, let's try. And look what happened, Jason. Look where we've come along that way of just that. And it was just trusting.
Mm-hmm.
And just going out, I'm going to invite this really nice guy at work. We get along. Let's see what happens. And you just never know. And look how far that's taken us just on that trust.
It led something profound in me, which was to get involved. So the first year, I kind of more shadowed you than led. You were reaching out to volunteers and getting them booked for that event. And I was learning how to do it. And then a couple of years later, when you weren't running that anymore, I did. And I was able to do it on my own. I had the confidence to do it on my own because I shadowed you. And that's something that's so important when you're building up professional equity, is really being able to learn from people that you trust. And so that your strength in being somebody authentic and trustworthy really resonated with me, because it was something that really helped me to grow. And for 20 years at that company, I was doing engagement activities after that. So really, you started that. So just,
well,
so much
thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Thank you for saying yes, because we both grew from that, for sure. I mean, I was learning those leadership skills, being involved with that group, and that was before the company even, branched out to have all the different groups that, in your navigation with the company, to be involved with, which was amazing to hear as we've been friends for 20 years of what's been happening there, and how it's blossomed and grown. And now you're here right in this beautiful skyline, chatting it up.
Yeah. Thank you to Market Scale for having us here in their studio here. It's a really great space. And I've really enjoyed the journey of that, and also being able to witness your growth, because your growth has been one of those ones that's exponential in so many different ways. You do have graphic design skills. You do have website creation skills. You do have real estate experience. You have real estate experience both in Dallas and in San Francisco. You are bold and decisive, and you go and you do things, and it's very remarkable, and it's something that I admire a whole lot. So, my question to you would be: have you experienced challenges developing your professional equity?
All the time. All the time. Challenges are always going to be
Hmm.
there. You know, certain examples would be, Jason, when we first met, 2005, right?
Don't date us.
Woo, honey, I look good. I don't know about you. 2005, man. I, started in a law firm,
Hmm.
navigated to getting my graphics design degree. All at the hints of a partner in a law firm, waking me up at 3 a.m. because I was sleeping under the desk for litigation and mediation, getting prepped and all that, saying, hey, you're way too talented to be doing this. There's plenty of time to do grind. You're really good at this. We like it. And what he was saying was, I'm good at graphics design. I didn't even know that was an option as a job.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So I went to school for that. And then in that, it led me to another company, which was in marketing, which led me to the position where we met,
Hmm.
and it was all new. And I was still learning. I knew nothing about real estate, not
Hmm.
one thing, but the team took a chance on me. And I'll tell you why. And Larry Leon will probably bring this up, who's my mentor broker, who I'm seeing after this, Jason. I mean, we
Awesome.
talk daily even. So you always keep those mentors, those people who really kind of help, support you, embolden you. You feed the energy off each other. And that's
Hmm.
the way. And that helps you get through challenges,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And him taking a chance, and that was even a challenge for him to take a chance on me to further my path even within the company. And a lot of people don't know that.
Hmm.
I always say this, and I'll take it to my grave. I'm so near and dear to him because I'll never forget. He said, you know what? They won't let me give you a bonus because you just started. I think I started right at the end of the year kind of thing. You know how companies are, right? You
Hmm.
got to wait a whole other darn year to get, paid.
Yeah.
He goes, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay for your real estate license. I want you to go get it. I think you can learn this business. I think you got a skill. I think we could do real good right now. The market's really great. And I have no idea what he's talking about. Okay, sure. I don't know. 2005. That navigated us to 2008. Boy, what a challenge, Jason. You remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
You remember
Absolutely.
that?
The market just crashed.
Tanked,
Yeah. Hmm.
tanked. And talk about just taking the chance. And because he invested in me, and really what it was is that he invested in me because he knew the potential I didn't even know I had,
Hmm.
to be honest, right? And that moment right there has brought me all the way to my broker's license in Texas, to my license in California, to doing what I'm doing now in the different silos of real estate. Real estate is massive. A lot of people don't realize, they think real estate, oh, you're doing residential, or you're doing commercial, and
Hmm.
that's about it. There are so many different silos just within those two platforms that, can navigate you. And I'm still navigating my way through it.
Hmm.
I often joke, right? I don't know what I want to be when I grow up.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Apparently it's in real estate. But
Apparently. Yes.
yeah, but talk challenges, you're going to have them. You're going to have them there, to be specific on it. I think that if you navigate your way through it, go over it, because let me tell you, if it was easy, everybody would do it.
Sure. Well, let's look at real estate specifically, since that's your industry. You have challenges because we know that within real estate, there's a lot of family business
Oh
where
yeah.
somebody who's had a successful business, and their children will grow up already having the connections to other businesses, and so it's easier for them to get into it.
Hmm.
When you come from a background where you don't have those connections, how do you navigate those obstacles?
So what really helped me through that, because Larry also came from that too, wasn't born into the industry. Nepotism is huge in real estate, especially in the mecca of development here. was truly reaching out and doing proper relationship building and networking.
Mm.
When we had met, we did industrial,
Mm.
right? That was the specific finite silo that we were in, right? And then right under that was the specific niche, right? Which is private client group. And then from there, it helped me navigate from the investment side, but it also opened me up to the tenant rep side, which from an investment standpoint, right, they're, buildings, but who put those tenants in there to bring that value, and who are those tenants? And for me, it really came down to connecting with the business owners. And for me, it's the small business. And it's probably because my mom owned a business growing up, that she was kind of given into that and learning kind of how somebody utilizes a space, where that goes. And I just really kind of took that on. Nobody knew where I came from. It doesn't matter, because with a small business owner, they're in the same boat with you. They're taking a chance. They're taking a leap of faith, and they're looking for someone to cheer them along the way, navigate them a bit, help them out. Kind of, that's where the advisory role comes really natural in the real estate world. I remember joking when I did residential for a time, and I was in 2008. I mean, you talk about challenges. Everybody left real estate. I went into residential. That's insane. Nobody did that. I did that. And it was the only outlet I could do. I had my real estate license, didn't know what else to do. Did it, did well, found the opportunity in a down market. There's always opportunity. It's a matter of how you see the swing of that pendulum, because it's always swinging.
Certainly a huge part of professional equity's resiliency and being able to just roll with the flow and kind of, making lemonade out of lemons, whatever phrase you want to use for that. It all boils down to having a tenacity and being resilient. And I've seen that through you over and over again. Are there specific challenges that you overcame within building your professional equity that you think are unique to you?
Yeah, it's really, for me, it was identifying, although I had support and help, but realizing this support and help is limiting me.
Okay.
And I will, and that this is a new challenge for me. And that was when I decided, you know what? I've been doing real estate from 2005 to 2016, and nobody had talked to me about the broker track.
Okay.
Not even my mentor broker.
Okay.
Right. And so since I've had that work and understanding, when I realized, gosh, I can't truly be on my own ever unless I do my broker's license, which was never explained to me. And maybe I just never asked the question. I didn't know I could ask it, really. And so kind of realizing, always ask questions, always push yourself. And that was a moment, pinnacle, to push myself even further. Was getting my broker's license and being responsible for other agents and helping them navigate their career path and just informing them what I know I didn't get informed on. Like, hey, did you know? You should. Have you thought of? And helping people go through that process, because it's a very bright, shiny object, right?
Sure.
Everybody wants to be in real estate, it seems like. And then when you get in it, it seems like everybody is in it. But let me tell you, if it was easy, everybody would do it. Not everybody does. Not everybody can do it for a long time.
That is true. But it's also, we were speaking before this podcast recorded about the barriers to entry to real estate. Talk to us about that.
Very low, which is very unique, I will say. Larry Leon said it. You don't got to be a scientist to do this. That's one thing. It's an investment. If you can pay for classes, go for it. You just need,
Talk to me about how long are classes?
It's segmented. I think, oh gosh, Jason, I have, done it in the beginning, but I remember it was like just packages. They've got these real estate schools that have the specific packages to get started. It's an investment. It's a hefty investment if you think about it. It's probably about $1,200 now.
But significantly cheaper than going to a college or university and getting a degree. And so and by that, I really just wanted to highlight that barrier to entry is education is not really one of them.
It's not one of
other
them.
than real estate classes, which you can do virtually, you can go in person, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So those barriers to entries are easier,
Are
but what you're
easier.
saying is just because it's easy to get into it doesn't mean
It's
it's
easy to
easy to.
stay in it.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is. But
So
yeah.
how do you keep yourself motivated?
Ooh, besides meditate and medicate, is, really, it's for me lately, because you know me,
Yeah.
is just trying the different silos of it to really see, taking the skills that I've learned, taking the expertise, the relationships and the network, and navigating in the different silos. I went from industrial real estate to office to retail to flex to now shared spaces.
Hmm.
I have all of this in my back pocket of ammunition to be able to guide and help people from stem to stern, right?
Yeah.
I mean, truly,
Hmm.
where if you talk to particular brokers, and I talk to them where they're calling me because they've got a temporary type scenario that they need for their client, and they didn't even know that this was a service that could be provided for them and whatnot. And I'm thinking, really, you get paid off this? We'll pay you a commission, even.
Hmm.
And it reminds me of when I did residential in a time when nobody was doing residential. And I did heavily in leasing and got into hoteling and got into, specific programs that were tailored for leasing on a maximum level, which was the residents and fellows program. I mean, it was just creating niches. The riches are in the niches, is what I've always said
Hmm.
when it comes to real estate. It
I like
really is. The riches are in the niches,
that. Hmm.
but keep yourself flexible, nimble, agile. And I think that's really what's kind of kept me on a competitive edge to be on the other side of a negotiation table with large time brokerages,
Hmm.
CBRE, JLL, new all of them.
Hmm.
It doesn't I've had commissions checks written out to me by those companies.
Absolutely.
And I'm not, and it's just me, lone broker, you know, representing my client, doing what needed to be done, helping them along the way, and being able that my client can call me and go, I can talk to you about this type of asset. I can talk to you about this. I can talk to you about that. And if I don't know, I at least have a network of brokers that I've worked with that I can also reach out to and we're comrades, we're colleagues out in
Hmm.
here. And I think that's also one thing that really kind of opened other colleagues in this industry that, you know, I'll roll with anyone.
Hmm.
There's enough real estate for everybody, is my theory. There is. There's enough real estate for everybody.
Sure.
There's always going to be competition. Who cares? We got enough real estate to go around. It's all good.
Absolutely. Well, you've hit on a good point. For me, professional equity is those skills, your education, your experience, and your network. But your professional quotient, just like your intelligence quotient or your emotional quotient, your IQ or your EQ, your PQ is how you leverage your professional equity.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hearing that you're leveraging your skills, your education, and your network very strongly through that. So I would rate you as a very high PQ. But let's
Ooh.
let's assume that somebody is very entry level and they're looking at you, Roro, and saying, I want to be Roro. I want to do what Roro does. What advice would you give?
Um, First off, I'm copywritten, so don't copy me. No, I'm joking. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Hey, look, there's a big saying that I think a lot of people in business, doesn't matter what kind of business it is, fake it till you make it.
Hmm.
And it truly, I don't like the way it says, but to me, it means go for it.
Mm.
So I was just asked this a few weeks ago from a gal I work with, young, said, "Oh, you're in real estate. I've been thinking about doing you should do it. Don't even think about it. Invest in it. Just do it and get it done."
Mm.
Because that will open up the door, and then will open up another door, and it will open up another door. And if you need kind of just, I'm here as a soundboard, you need just to be available for someone, because I didn't have that. I had a
Hmm.
great broker, but he knew what he knew.
Hmm. Sure.
And it's funny now, like I said, I'm meeting Larry right after this, that even he goes, it's amazing. My mentee is now my mentor road. Like he's seen me navigate and professionally grow, that we bounce ideas, we co-broke ideas,
Hmm.
which really truly is unheard of, to have two separate brokers, two separate owned firms
Hmm.
come together and work together to get a deal done. It's usually one or the other. But when you're a lone wolf like this,
Hmm.
you're able to be flexible and kind of break some rules, or there's not
Sure.
really any rules. It's just a matter of, like, we can all sing together and powwow together. It's all good. There's
Be
not,
innovative.
we could be totally innovative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can get through this and get to the finish line, whatever it is. So I always tell everybody, you want to do it, do it. There's not one thing that'll hold you back except yourself.
So your advice is just to jump in and get started.
Jump in and get started. You never know, because, go do residential, see if you like it. You don't like it, find a firm that has a commercial division.
Mm-hmm.
See if you can find someone that can help you navigate and work through that. There's all different types of silos within real estate that a lot of people don't understand. Asset, property management. Now there's GWS. Now that, there's facilities management. There's all sorts of different
Mm-hmm.
areas that your real estate license can take you.
So let me also ask you, how would you go about finding, or like, again, as an advice to someone new, how would you suggest that they find their mentor, their Larry Leon, their person that's really going to help them grow?
Be open to ask questions. Be open with anyone. First off, if they're talking to me, I'm first one. Happy to connect them to who I know. Happy to let them know about associations that'll help them further their knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
their education. If they want to get a credit, there's all sorts of acronyms you could put behind your name in this industry too, right?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
CCIM, SIOR, all this stuff. Find out what it is that you want to go for and build your process to do it. And again, hold on to those people that'll tell you. And I've done it all along the way through my career. Larry is just one. I have multiple. I mean, I would say probably at least between 50 and 70 people that I can easily kind of go, oh, God, I remember I did a deal with them. Oh, he was really good at this, or she was really good at this, and she'll remember. You start gaining that momentum and that traction. But, the industry itself is kind of a receive, right?
Mm.
When you get your license, as you remember, Jason, you probably got a ton of just mail.
Yeah.
Keller Williams, Judge Fight, whatever real estate company is around, because Trex sells your information off. So they sure do.
Yes.
And they'll call you or what have you. Well, that's a moment to kind of interview with them. Use that as they're looking at you. You need to look at them.
Mm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was at a large company when I got my license. I went and talked to a recruiter and a broker at Keller Williams. I went and talked to somebody at Judge Fight. I went and talked to somebody at, now there's Compass. There's all these different types of brokerages, so you can find out, do they have a program that works for you? Does it look like you'll learn something? And then where do you go from there? I think I did almost backwards, really, when I look at it. Maybe that's hurt me in my navigation of it, but I mean,
hey, we're
I'm
all
enjoying
on our
it.
path.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I'm learning. I'm hitting the walls just like anybody else. But truly, if you're going to open yourself up, like I said, the moment you start doing your license and you pass that state exam,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to get you're the door, and people are going to knock at you. It's your moment to open up and knock at them and really, really understand what you want to do with that license. A lot the easy way segment, residential. It's the easiest. Commercial is the hardest to get into. It really is. I think just learning, having the network, connect. That is we just got lucky. I will say I just got lucky. Thankfully. Larry will say different, because I remember telling him, I said, I just got real lucky meeting you. He goes, no, Ro, you were looking for a position. We were looking for somebody. I didn't think I'd find someone like you.
He was lucky to have you join and you both were in that sense. Yes, it was intentional because you both formed a relationship intentionally, but yes, it was also fortuitous, because what I've seen, especially between you and Larry, is more than a business partnership. It's really a family, a growth of if I didn't know any better and I was just meeting the two of you, I would just assume that you were from the same family, just because of the way that you really engage with each other and are open and authentic and real. And of course, you bring that with you everywhere you go. And it's one of the other things I admire about you is that openness and authenticity. And so thank you so much.
WYSIWYG.
Yes.
WYSIWYG.
Okay. And what does that mean?
What you see is what you get.
WYSIWYG. There's always a new acronym.
Design term. What you see is what you get.
Awesome. Well, I certainly appreciate you for spending your time here and coming and sharing this, because there are so many people that part of your professional equity is knowledge, and that's something that can be free. So just
Right.
hearing somebody else share their story is something that can build us up. And that's exactly the point of this PQ podcast is to really share that and to give back to the community so that people that are looking for what to do next can help build it. So very much appreciate you coming, and your story is valuable and it's added so much here. So very much appreciate that.
I want to say how proud I am of you.
Uh,
Really, truly. I mean, Jason, you think about it. You said it just now, right? You started a job, just wanted to do the 9 to 5, 8 to 5, whatever it was, and lo and behold, the universe wrapped us together and navigated us through, and we've had such a amazing journey, and I can't wait to see where the next 20 years takes us. But I'm just so proud of you because I remember how shy you were when we met. Do you remember? I remember how shy you were, and how you've grown professionally and and just personally too. And so I just want to thank you for doing what you're doing, because you're bringing now your knowledge and your expertise, and you're now going out into the universe, the world, of saying, "Hey, look, I did this too. You did that." And so I just appreciate you.
oh,
Um,
Thank you. I'm debating here of saying, was it shy or was it being neurodivergent? Like,
Whatever.
because
I yanked the
you
I yanked you out
definitely,
there.
you definitely got me to
Good.
embrace being who you are in the workplace and not having to come in inauthentically as this is how I'm supposed to present myself. And so I very much appreciate that. Very much
Thank you. We had a
appreciate
good
that.
time in that
Yeah,
in those
absolutely.
hallways.
Well, and it's interesting because what you did essentially is you got me to go from an entry level
Yeah.
position in the print
Yeah.
room to eventually being on the executive leadership team of a global
Yeah.
company, and that is something that I can only attribute to those that I met along the way that helped me, starting with you.
Oh,
And so I very much appreciate that.
well,
Thank you.
I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of you just continually meeting people and growing, and superstar, superstar.
Well, thank you again for your time here and being, a guest here on PQ Podcast. And to the audience, I'd like to just remind everyone that unlike your IQ or your EQ, you can always raise your PQ. So we can. Yes, we can.
Yes,
Or what were you going to say? You could do it.
we can do it.
Yeah.
It's really funny, and this is kind of old school, right?
Hmm.
I'm taking it back, old school style. I went back and I started to listen to my old Zig Ziglar CDs. And I say Zig Ziglar.
What's a CD?
I know,
No, I'm
right?
just kidding.
I know, right? My husband had to rip them for me. He's like, "We put this on the audio now." But I actually like physical media. But they were in my car. They'd
Okay,
always,
Grandma, let's go
I
to
know,
bed
right?
now.
Let me give you
Sun's
a
going down.
butterscotch candy while I'm telling you the story. But I just wanted to hear just a reminder.
Hmm.
Why do I do sales?
Yeah.
Why do I do, because that is what real estate is. It's sales. It's selling me. It's selling the real estate. It's selling, my worth, my value, my knowledge, all the above. And I went back to listen to those just to kind of get little bit of reminder, because every once in a while you got to take it back to remind you why you went into it
Hmm.
and why you're going to keep going for it, and whatever that path is. And surprisingly, I've always liked Zig Ziglar, but it could be anything, Tony Robbins CDs, or what have you. But that is one thing that my husband Greg even was like, "Are you listening to Zig Ziglar?" Like, I am. That's great. You don't get to hear those nowadays, but
Awesome. Hey, we have
I take it
to,
back.
whatever really bumps us up and keeps us going, embrace it,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What are you reading? What are you doing?
Right now I'm writing a book about professional equity,
Yeah.
building it, and actually you're the very first person I mention in the book. So, yeah. So I'm doing that in my downtime, and then I'm on the spectrum, so I like my songs on repeat. So right now, I for the last about 3 months, I've had the soundtrack to Tick Tick Boom on repeat. It's on Netflix. It's Jonathan Larson. He produced Rent, and
Oh.
this has come out. It was actually written before Rent.
Oh, wow.
I had Rent on repeat in my car on a CD for about 20 years before I finally started listening to something else in the car. So
Nice.
when I start listening to something, I listen to it. And I listen to it. And I listen to it. So that's what I'm listening to right now. Yeah. Don't get me started. That and Star Trek, and then I can go
Oh, yeah.
nonstop.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's
yeah.
like me and Seinfeld. Always on.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for being a guest on the
Well,
show,
thank you for
and
having me.
I look forward to more conversations in the future.
Absolutely. It went 20 more years will do.
Absolutely. We'll still look just as good. So remember, unlike your IQ or your EQ, you can always raise your PQ. Just keep building, connecting, and learning. You can do it.